What happens if a protective order is violated in Texas? That's what we're going to talk to you about here today. I'm Jeff Hampton with the Fulgham Law Firm, and I want to thank you for joining us today on our YouTube channel. And this is a question that's brought up to me sometimes on protective order situations. People say, what if I unknowingly violated a protective order? What am I facing? What can I do about it? Is there a way it can be defended? Absolutely. And by the way, if you wait around till the end of this video, I will also give you a free ebook, What to Do If You've Been Charged with a Domestic Violence Crime in Texas. All right, let's jump into this. Listen, if you've been charged, here's the thing. If you've been charged with a domestic violence crime in Texas, there's about 100% chance that you've been given a protective order. And essentially, that protective order, you need to take very seriously. If you violate that protective order, you could end up facing up to a year in county jail and up to a $4,000 fine because it is classified as a Class A misdemeanor in Texas. Okay. Now let's talk about this for a second, because a protective order is very serious. Because if there is an allegation that you have violated that protective order, think about it initially from the judge's perspective. The judge might look at it and say, okay, wait a minute. Looks like this person may have been charged with domestic violence or was at least arrested for it. Now there's this new allegation that someone has violated a protective order. So what is the judge thinking? The judge may be thinking, this person's dangerous. This person may cause harm to this alleged victim because they don't know the full facts about what actually took place. So the whole purpose of a protective order is to ensure that both parties under the original protective order remain separate from one another. A cooling off period can take place, and so that both sides are presumably under the law to be protected from one another. Now, these type of orders are almost always exclusively found on domestic violence cases, and they're issued with the intent of protecting the victim from an alleged assault, threat, or the presence of the other person because of the emotions that are involved in it. And if you are under a protective order right now, it's important to know that you are required certain things that the judges always require you to do. Number one, they're going to make you stay away from the alleged victim. Number two, they're going to usually make you give up any firearms that are within your possession. And sometimes the judge can require you to be checking in or to complete some type of required court-ordered program for anger management or substance abuse as a part of that. More rare, but it does happen on occasion. So the judge will determine the length of your protective order. On first-time domestic violence cases, that can usually range anywhere from 30 all the way up to 90 days. You can have a protective order if it is a domestic violence case that was very serious, or maybe it is a second or third or more domestic violence case. You could be talking about up to a 2-year protective order that could go into effect. Now, first of all, can you contest a protective order? Yes, you can. You can hire a criminal attorney. That criminal attorney can file a modification to the protective order. Particularly if the alleged victim does not want to prosecute, there are specific steps that can be taken after an affidavit of non-prosecution to file a motion to modify that protective order and potentially have the court do away with the protective order, or at least allow both parties to have contact with each other as long as there is no harmful or injurious contact, okay? As long as everybody can get along. There is an option for you to be able to do that if that is your situation, okay? Now, what about violating a protective order? You can be arrested without a warrant if the police believe probable cause exists that you have violated that protective order. Of course, if an assault takes place again, that's sufficient. If there's a threat to the victim or entering a prohibited place, that's why many times these protective orders involved literally no contact with the alleged victim at all. So physical evidence and statements by witnesses can be enough to lead to your arrest. And I've even had people say, wait a minute, I don't understand. How fair is that? What if the alleged victim just made it up and said that I went over there? That's why you have to be super careful. Even when someone maybe wants to reconcile with you, you have to be super careful not to be contacting the alleged victim, because that could turn back around and lead to a warrant for a violation of protective order. Okay, so now what if no one does get hurt, but let's say it has a provision that says you're not permitted to go to a particular residence or within 500 feet of that residence? Well, here's what happens. I have found that police officers sometimes literally camp out at residences they know that a protective order is addressed to. And so I've actually seen clients get arrested for just driving by, stopping, not having any interaction with anyone, but literally just being in the area. If they are within 500 feet of that residence, the police literally, with no other discussion, can just come up, and that's sufficient to arrest them. And I've seen it happen multiple times, where that can be the basis for probable cause to arrest someone for violating a protective order. So other factors that can result in an arrest include being caught in possession of a firearm, and it's essential that every little nuance of what the judge placed into that protective order is followed to a T. That's why you need to go over that with your attorney, your criminal defense attorney that you choose to work with, okay? So a first offense of violating a protective order is normally a misdemeanor offense, as I mentioned earlier, Class A misdemeanor, but it punishable potentially by up to a year in county jail and up to a $4,000 fine, but it will greatly complicate your criminal attorney's ability to resolve maybe your domestic violence case if a new violation of protective order case is picked up, okay? Now, here's what happens. Let's say that you are arrested for this. What are some things that you can do to fight a violation of a protective order case? Well, a good attorney that has the skills and knowledge to go about this and to fight this, one of the things that can be done is we like here at the Fulgham Law Firm to gather any witness statements from others who might have been present or maybe that you were present with. We've actually had alleged victims make up things. We're able to have other victim or alleged witnesses that were with our clients at the time this supposedly took place, where we're able to show our client wasn't there at all, provide an alibi, provide that nothing took place at all to help counteract that. And then, of course, you can always, if the case goes to a trial, you can examine the alleged story from the alleged victim here about the contact that supposedly took place. And so it's very important to be protective in this situation. But let me just tell you this. I'm going to give you one example. We had a client we represented that literally he ended up getting arrested because his ex-spouse who made the claim came, called the police on her way over to see him and said, he showed up over here, he is threatening me, and I want him arrested. My client's out mowing his yard. He's out in the front yard mowing his yard in his residence. The woman pulls up, gets out of the car, walks up to him, starts talking, knowing the police are making the turn, driving up, and they see the two of them together. Well, who do you think they believed? Do you think they believed her or him? They believed her, right? And so she's saying, no, he's the one that did this. He's here now. He just threatened me. He made this up. Well, in that situation, we were also able to show he had cameras. He's there minding his own business. He didn't do anything with her. He had no intent. She came and approached him. And as a result of that, we showed that he had no intention. There was no intentional act on his part. And as a result of that, that case was able to be dismissed. So there are going to be some things that your attorney can help prepare you for to show how this case can be, if you're facing a violation of protective order, it can be defended against in the courts of Texas, okay? Now, I've gone over several things here, but maybe you're facing a similar situation, you or a loved one. Maybe you'd like a free consultation. Don't hesitate to contact the Fulgham Law Firm at 817-877-3030. We would be happy to go over all of this with you, break down protective order laws in Texas, and see if we can be of any assistance to you. I promised you if you waited around to the end of this video, I'd also give you a free ebook, What to Do If You Have Been Charged with a Domestic Violence Crime in Texas. Click the link right down here below. Give us your email information. We'll be happy to send it right over to you. And thanks again for joining us today on our YouTube channel. I hope you found this information useful. If so, go back, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video that you've seen here, and I look forward to presenting you more information about Texas criminal law on upcoming video series. Take care.